Okay, snipers. This is more important. Okay. The COH3 snipers could cloak and move everywhere, which was kind of universally seen as too OP. A lot of players in the COH3 days, everyone was making snipers. You get 2-3 of them, it's just kind of over. So that element was corrected in COH2 in a very good way, where units sit in cover to be cloaked, whether it's a crater, yellow cover, green cover, doesn't matter. That is an objective improvement on the camouflage cloaking system. However, in COH2, when a sniper fires, it sounds like every other unit on the map, and you can't see where it came from without clicking a UI element, which is going to take away from your micro and your APM. And if they had just taken the COH1 sniper, where the COH1 sniper, when it fires, you see a streak coming from it, so you can quickly ID its origin. And the shot that comes from a sniper is unique and loud and distinct from everything else on the map. If they combine those, they'd have perfect snipers. That's exactly what they did. The COH3 snipers they're perfect, and they're perfect for one other reason. The COH2 snipers, if you tell it to shoot a target, sits there and he waits and he opens a book and he's completely irresponsive. The COH2 snipers, you tell it to do something and they do it. And that's exactly how it should be. And here's why. In all RTSs that have ever existed, there is a spectrum. On this spectrum are units that are weak and fast, and slow and heavy. The slow heavy units tend to have a lot of firepower. They tend to be heavily armored, but they're glacially slow as you approach one end of that spectrum. As you approach the other end of that spectrum, you have things that are nimble, you have things that have little or no armor, and things that are fast and responsive. Snipers are way over here. They're on this side of the spectrum. It's true they one-hit kill, but they are so goddamn fragile. And because of the COH2 system where they're cloaked, you have to be very careful about your selection of movement. It is excellent that they're responsive. The COH3 snipers have to be responsive, and they are. What I'm getting at after all this rant is the fact that they did them right. They nailed it. The COH3, I started playing around with them, and I was like, oh, yes, thank you, God. This makes them viable and counterable. It's not only that the snipers are set up in such a way that all these elements work together, but it's also the fact that the faction design that they set up, both factions have an early Jeep-like, or actually a Jeep in the Americans' case, vehicle for this first phase, as Devin correctly pointed out earlier in that quote, this first phase of the game, where countering snipers for different factions in COH2 is they either don't have it, or you have to go to clown cars, or there are a lot of these pigeonholing decisions that happen. Because they've given the factions the tool set they need, you as the player get to make the choice. The choice will be driven by the map. It'll be driven by what the opposing units are. It might be driven by how they're using the sniper to some extent, but the fact remains is that the snipers were done. They're perfect. Like, you probably need to tweak how they work, some of the little pieces of how they move around and shit, but like the structure, and again, that's all that matters right now. The balance doesn't matter. There are a lot of little things that don't, the art doesn't matter. It doesn't matter almost at all. The snipers work great. I enumerate all the points I just made here. You can see in the COH1, the sniper sits here, he fires, there's a streak, you can ID its location, you don't need to follow the UI. You shouldn't have to. Here's COH2, sorry. The snipers fire, not only can you not hear them, but you can't really see where the hell they came from. So we're looking at excellent sniper design in COH3.